also the mainstream, but we're going to be kicking off. Here we are getting into this first matchup. As we said, Ground Zero, OCE's #1 seed, taking on Europe's #2, which sounds crazy to say. The previous major winners trying to defend that major title, KCorp. I'm going to be kicking it straight away off the bat.
Ground Zero, I think it's going to come down to them not respecting KCorp as much as they want to be respected. They need to make sure that they're not just thinking, boys, we're going to get slapped about here. They can't be thinking we're going to get beaten, they're going to be quicker, they're going to be better. Nope. Play your game, do what you can, shut them down as early as possible. And if you can be a little bit scrappy, a little bit dirty, and get down with it, then you're going to have a much better chance of respecting them the entire way.
They almost scored there right off the bat. 5 seconds in. Kaka just off the sidewall, nearly with the dunk. And now it is KCorp's turn to get their first attack underway here of game #1. I'm liking this start from Ground Zero. They won the kickoff, they had the early pressure, and I just feel like the B stream, you know, they're not playing on the main stage right now for those following along at home, and it can have that different element, that different feeling about it. There's a huge whiff coming out. Kaka gets beat out by Exotic, and well, Ground Zero have had 2 big chances early. KCorp, none. Fiber off the wall. He's going for the redirect on net. Follow-up. It's going to be Ground Zero. It's going to be that man, Super Lucky, the OCE MVP, opening it up here. And this offense has just been relentless in the first minute.
They start off as offensive as they will want to be continuing. And CJ made a little bit of an error. KCorp in the 3rd seed, not the 2nd. Okay. Our bad. It's still fine. It's still crazy that they're in that 3rd seed spot regardless. But Ground Zero, mate, they managed to lock it in. They get the first goal. But look at this offense. And as soon as you see Viteria just take his time, wait, you see a couple of players going to that ball, he is going to be feeling incredibly confident. Fiber, though, wants to get the reset around the side of it. Actually, isn't quite able to.
Can I just say something?
The corner.
I knew they were the 3rd seed, but you know, you threw me off when you said that, so I ran with it. So
yeah.
Direct all hate towards him, and Kaka's directing everything to the top right corner. Ground Zero, game #1, is showing up right now. KCorp into work, flip reset, no boost, the touch, he goes low, goes for the low 50. And that is a bit of the coming core special, going for those low 50s, getting that extra touch and just getting a lot of value from their hits. However, it is Ground Zero right now with that early advantage. Pass across there, Exotic. And low boost here. This is interesting from KCorp, not grabbing those corner boosts, not getting the control, and Kaka's winning these 50-50s. Grabbing an all-important mid boost there. Viteria trying to get there, but Fiber gets a fantastic touch. Superlocky has a bit of a one-on-one, but a touch he helps out Exotic there in the back line. Kaka can go. The demos are coming through. Superlocky's found one. Exotic's on the backboard. He's going for the 50. I like it. It's above net. Fiber blocked out. Exotic had to get a car in the way. Does so. And Ground Zero, they've got the goal, Stumpy, but they're looking for one more here, and they've still got more offense. Super Lucky again. What can he do? Flip reset. Fakes out for Fiber. Throws it through, but Viteria from the heavens. The famous Heavens call. I'm using Heavens a lot more since you've said that.
Are you? It's good, isn't it?
Major.
It's just the ceiling, really, isn't it?
Shot now, almost an opportunity for KCorp, but it is Ground Zero still.
GZ are doing a brilliant job. They are putting KCorp, rather, to the press. They are pushing them as far as further than they ever want to be pushed as well. Ground Zero, with one pitch not going their best way. Lockie has to manages to get back just in time. Viteria now to that ceiling. Sees Exotic Central. One shot from Exotic. Lockie on the goal line again. Double saviour for GC working their magic. With 2 minutes remaining, it is looking like Ground Zero have got a game plan against the European Tigers.
They might have just called the napping here, KCorp, early on, and as we said, ever since the kickoff of this game, you know, we're going back 3 minutes now, but they had the offense, they had the pressure, a great rotation from Super Lucky, helping out when the demo came through. He puts another shot, no, he can't quite get the touch. Itachi now, flicks the ball across, pop over the top, Viteria's there. Shot goes wide here, Fiber now, minute 30 on the clock. Can Ground Zero just pinch this game one and maybe put some doubts in this KCorp lineup's mind? A great touch from Kaka. He's got a one-on-one instant challenge. Super Lucky follow-up. Viteria dives across Fiber, goes for a double himself, gets it centered. KCorp are setting up, but they need a goal. They need to get down the other end, Stumpy.
I love seeing what Fiber manages to do as well. On that one touch, gets it central, slows it down a smidge, and then goes for a bump on the backboard, making sure the KCorp are as unsettled as possible. But the Ground Zero, it's a minute remaining. They've got that one goal. It is their chance to get this first game on the mainstream brackets B stream, for anybody who's just joined us. 55 is Kaka now with boost and a man central. One flick towards the net, but Exotic dives in front, gets control. Fiber tackles him, gets that possession back. Lockie's defense has been great so far, but him and Kaka need to make sure that stays firm.
Super Lucky Love the patience there. Gets in. Kaka helps him out.
Oh.
Exotic's in trouble over the top. He's going for a double. He's almost trying to put it in himself, but does move to the sidewall. 30 seconds left. And Fiber tries to touch it to the corner now. Ground zero, as we said. They got that early goal. They got that early pressure. But they need to hold on. This is where it's going to test this team.
Pressure.
Have they learned from the last major? It looks like they're doing well so far.
Brilliant pressure as well from KCorp. They just can't break past that ground zero back line. 15 seconds. Fiber, he waits and he lurks to make sure the interception is the most important thing, not the block on the goal line. If you get it early, you're going to do much better. Vatira down, goes central. Fiber again waiting. He's got to shoot. Finds Vatira. Karkar though to block. Attached with a shot on target. Lockett goes up high. Exotic to drop low towards Vatira on that side wall though. The man in the middle and ground zero. Game number 1.
Ground zero do take game number 1 as well. They just stunned them off the bat for the first 2 minutes. And that was, well, I mean, KCorp just, it looked like they weren't quite awake there for that first game. And I mean, well done to ground zero. Getting that early pressure was super lucky. Wow. Getting the goal. They had a lot of chances as well. Look at that, 10 shots to 8. So they had the offense, they had the pressure, and they got the reward from that.
Importantly too, it's the best of 5, CJ. This is where those upsets happen. Best of 7s, you normally, and again, statistically, it doesn't necessarily line up this way, but you normally think the better team will come out on top with then those 4 wins. A best of 5, though, it feels like a few more upsets are able to happen.
It does. It just adds that extra element. You know, we talk about best of 7s just more than often than not, as you said, we're finding the best team getting the win. But when you win that first game in a best of 5, and you know, I've had this experience as a player. You know, you can drop that first game and you think it's okay, boys. That was just a warm up. But then you lose game 2 in a close one. All of a sudden, you're having to reverse sweep the match to get the win.
So
very quickly, these series can get away from you in a best of 5. I would think KCorp would be all over that. They know what is on the line here in this game number 2. But I mean, you know, I talk about ground zero sort of catching them napping, but for the majority of that game, they looked the better team there.
They did. Yeah, they had KCorp in a vice. They had some fantastic shots too. They were shooting when they weren't necessarily going to score, but they were still just thinking, let's keep that pressure up. Let's make sure that they don't feel safe at any given moment. And KCorp, we saw on their cameras, they were looking a little bit worried, thinking, boys, that's 1. We can't let another one go, but we can let that first one. And now it's up to KCorp here on Forbidden Temple to be the team that will come out supreme in the second.
Well, it's impressive to see everyone here on the ground zero lineup stepping up in that game number 1 as well. It wasn't just Super Lucky getting to work. Everyone doing their job here, but early double commit wasn't great. Kaka does get a second touch. The touch is awkward, but he does get a fantastic first touch. One more over the top, goes for the 50. KCorp this time do get the pressure, do get the offense off that kickoff.
What I'd also say is that double elimination, for anybody who has been watching all of the fantastic regionals in every single region, is brutal.
Well done if they have as well, if they've watched every single region, every single regional.
Yeah,
my goodness.
They've just been doing 24 hours over the weekends. Don't sleep, just keep down in some caffeine. But it just comes down to, you know, it's brutal. It is such a hard format to really excel in. And if you lose this one, congrats. You have now used one of your 2 lives for the entire bracket that you've got ahead of you. Ground Zero want to be putting that press on one of the best teams in Europe right now, and also crushing the hopes for those teams in Europe then going forward to Worlds. Even this series has those implications.
You said it perfectly. It's not like a Swiss bracket where it can reset once you make the main event. You know, it goes into a single elim. This double elim, if you lose once, you're carrying the weight of that throughout the entirety of the bracket here. And as we said, KCorp should know that. A great demo coming through. It feels like Ground Zero now. They're just not always rotating back post. They're helping each other out. They're getting to work in defense and in offense, and just relieving a lot of that pressure from KCorp.
Demos are flying in though. KCorp want to remove Ground Zero from the pitch because they are being pests. Karkar, brilliant movement onto the sidewall. Forced Itachi into a save as well, who does so fantastically well. I'm loving the movement that we're seeing. That is a harsh pitch, goes to the ceiling there, so Karkar can then clear it towards the side. One player up. Lockie isn't going to be the first one to it though, instead Itachi will be. Fiber then takes it to the ground. A 50. KCorp speciality, then goes up in a fantastic position for Vatira. Fiber gets pulled off with the flat ball, and Karkar instead comes in. And defense is absolutely the mainstay of game number 2 for the guys in orange.
It's just feeling more and more like Ground Zero back in OCE though. They're not panicking or, you know, threatened by the pace of KCorp. They're playing this at their own speed, and it's working so far. Having said that, Exotic off the wall. Fiber has to get a good touch. Runs it along the ground as well. Just relieves a little bit of pressure, but Itachi's taking it straight back in with a flip reset. Fakes out Lockie, does get a touch. Vatira throws it on net, goes high. Follow-up shot in. Exotic finally It's taken 2 games, but KCorp get their first goal of the series.
Intelligently too, Vatira stops, waits, and then sends it high because KCorp, yes, maybe the shot behind him would have been good, but instead Itachi can come in, Exotic can come in and then get that second touchdown. The defense does not know what to do when the ball is directly above them. Great play from KCorp. They wore down ground zero, but it took them 2.5 minutes to do so. 7.5 minutes scoreless against these oceanic monsters.
Yeah, and it still took a good shot to get that one away as well, so great shot from Exotic, but ground zero off the kickoff. That's a great touch. KCorp has an open shot, but it's off the corner. Shooting woes plaguing ground zero now. That was an open net. It was a perfect touch. It's still going to be open. Can Lockie bury it into the bottom left this time? They go to the other side and they find the equaliser.
Fist bumps fly on the ground zero side. The Spiber with an outstanding 50 sends it towards the middle. If Lockie wasn't there, KCorp was. If KCorp wasn't there, Lockie was. They had backup plans and they have the equalising goal.
Some defensive mistakes as well there from KCorp. Very rarely do we see all 3 players on the same side there, all front post and just having so much space. There was 2 ground zero players, not just Super Lockie, ready to put that one away in the bottom left corner. They do find the angle. Exotic works it around Fiber. KCorp trying to find their way in it. This certainly doesn't feel like the KCorp of old. Super Lockie one-on-one, follow-up, KCorp throws it on neck. Fiber now, he beats another player to the ball. He's going low, tries to go the low 50. Exotic's ready for it, however. A big whiff. Super Lockie gets a one-on-one out of nowhere. Vatira's ready. But KCorp are just giving these openings to ground zero. I'm
somewhat disappointed in Lockie there for just taking the shot. He could have taken his time, then KCorp could have gone for a bump. It's almost like they're a little bit shocked of, oh my word, we're 3v1 versus Vatira. I'm just going to hit it hard. But they will probably have a couple more chances like that if KCorp don't close up their defense. 80 seconds remain. Ground zero tied up versus KCorp, the 3rd seed in Europe, as we have now learned. Well, not the 2nd. KCorp with 1 central, but Exotic. A pinging clear back into the orange half. Vatira, that's just wide of the target. 1 miss and sees KCorp versus Exotic, and Exotic into the corner. Can he get that 1 central? Doesn't manage to do so.
The space.
Fiber then sees KCorp instead with 0 boost. This is getting a little bit messy, and to me, that favours ground zero. With 1 pass, Lockie can't quite get on it before Exotic defends.
KCorp rotating so deep. Their 3rd man there caught out. There's just, as I said, so much space in midfield right now. Even when KCorp are pushing forward, they're not giving, I guess they're giving ground zero too much respect in that aspect here. And KCorp now, he's a little bit awkward, but ground zero, they look comfortable in defense. As I said, this is what we see from them online back in OCE. They're happy to defend, happy to play that counter-attack style, and this is not what we saw in San Diego at the Winter Major. They're almost panicking. They didn't want to be in defense. They throw the ball away. But with 25 seconds left, they're going to have to get a nice clearance, and that is it right there.
I felt like that could have been something cheeky happening. Instead, it just flies wide of the target. KCorp with 1 challenge near the target. Instead, Itachi then drops it down towards the middle. Again, from the ceiling, Fiber finds Lockie, finds the corner. Can the second player come in? He does so. KCorp's there. Itachi and Exotic both commit to that ball. Itachi and KCorp bumping each other away from this one. Fiber has to stay strong, does so. 1 central, doesn't find his way in. That'll bounce, that will hit the floor. Overtime game 2. Ground zero, the chance to take it to series point.
KCorp are hesitating right now. Ground zero, as I said, how comfortable they look in defense. It's making KCorp question their attack, question their structure, and well, this is a huge game. This is a huge overtime. Exotic's going low 50. Lockie's in massive trouble. Fiber helps him out. These rotations, the way that they're helping each other out, has saved this roster so far, saved this team in this series. A double commit from KCorp is not what we want to see. Fiber had an open net, a touch. He's scrambling back, but he couldn't get the touch. Ground zero get it out of defense, but that could have been a goal right there.
Exotic now wanting this push with 3rd to boost. It's going to be an effort, and the effort goes wide. Vatira shoots just ahead of that goal. Itachi now corner bound yet again. Chance after chance. Lockie again, defensively looking phenomenal.
Yeah, Ground Zero having to scramble, but they're scrambling well here. Another 50. Ground Zero seemingly just getting the better of all these 50s, finding their second player in behind here. Vatira has to play the counter-attack play. We know KCorp can do it well. He's slicing, he's dicing, gets a 50, beats 1, beats 2. Super Lockie with the corner boost, has to make it work. He gets demoed for it, but he does get the block.
Lockie has been outstanding on the defense. He's going to have his 2 teammates carry it on as much as he has, especially when he tries to play from the graveyard. Lockie now sends it high. KCorp, the first man to that ball, doesn't even get challenged, completely lets it fly. Maybe gets a little bit too overconfident. Exotic sees Vatira, but Fiber, he sees a clearance.
Yeah, that was a massive touch there. He tried to get the demo as well, but the demo came through on KCorp. They're a little bit awkward here, Ground Zero in net. Fiber just playing the low 50, but look at how they follow each other up. KCorp almost gets the beat if he could. That could have been the goal. Ground Zero looked like the team that are going to be able to score if there is one right now as another clearance comes through. Fiber gets the touch, lands on the backboard. He's awkward, but so's KCorp. They're not ready, but Ground Zero are.
That was quite scary. That was just hold your breath, pray that nothing happens if you're a Ground Zero fan. Vatira on that backboard, wanting to make sure that he is going to have his mark on this series. Fiber leaves that ball, goes it entirely for Kaka. The backboard then is his, attaching it towards the middle.
It is.
Exotic with a shot, the double save away. 2 minutes elapsed. Ground Zero holding remarkably firm against this incredible offense. Vatira, more chances, drop down yet again. Exotic waiting. Ground Zero,
oh my
with
goodness,
zero patience. Locky is on the run. He goes to 150, instead isn't able to quite clear it into that goal.
I thought for a second there he's just going to be able to run it down the whole way. Ground Zero, as we said, they're scrambling right now. It's not pretty in defense, but they're finding a way out. KCorp getting desperate. Locky got the corner boost. He's got the 100. He's going for the bumps. Kaka with the redirect. GC on match point.
Match point after 2 as well. Ground Zero, the verge of history. In the first series that we are playing here on the B stream, me and CJ looking at each other, just grinning. What is happening? OCE are back?
They are looking phenomenal right now. The way that they're just helping each other, there's always someone underneath the ball. These handoffs, and it was Kaka there. The confidence to push downfield, get underneath Super Locky, and find that top slot shot. Ground Zero have stunned KCorp 2-0 now, with 3 chances of taking the series.
That shot from Kaka as well at the end is utter confidence. There were 2 players in defense for KCorp, and neither of them were able to get to it. Pings it above, right below the crossbar, and as you can see, below the 1-2 scoreline, the Ground Zero leads 2-0. Locky looking a tiny bit shaky and thinking, boys, boys, we might just be able to do it.
Boys, let's forget that we're on match point. Nobody panic.
It's any other ranked game.
This board behind me is shaking right now because it is going to get kicked down, ladies and gentlemen. If Ground Zero can take this, they are 2-0 up. As I said, they have 3 chances right now to take down KCorp. Forget about the fact that this is the European number 3 seed. This is the defending major champions right here from Europe.
They need to step it up.
Oh, mate.
Good Lord.
Forget about how bad they're playing. This is about how good Ground Zero are playing. They're looking so confident, and they're picking it up here. The demo's a double demo coming through. Vatira's in trouble. He does get a huge touch. If he missed that, I just feel like the mentality had to be in the bin.
And tell you what, I love to see Fibo just waiting, just in case. Because Vatira, he's got a miss in him. Every now and then, those misses do come in, especially when KCorp look as shaky as they do. And if he just waits, sees if that he can find his way in, that's fantastic. Kaka fakes it to go low, does not get the reset, unfortunately for him. Vatira then going with that low 50, goes to the second one, goes for one bumper Fiber. The ball does not have enough pace on it to escape him.
Yeah, it felt like back at the Winter Major Ground Zero, they were scared of doing that, of helping each other out. They were always worried about getting back post, and it just meant they were so slow to the ball. But now they're just playing their own game. They're not worried about who they're playing. A touch, it goes for a little side double. Fiber's ready for it. Off the ceiling, Exotic hands it off. Vatira again, getting beaten to the ball everywhere in the midfield is KCorp. And KCorp now have to defend. They have to find a way through. Vatira gets the beat out, but it's straight to Kaka. This is what they want. It goes up high. Exotic, poor touch. Doesn't get the corner boost as well. Having said that, Kaka doesn't get it. He gets the fake out. He gets the pass across. It's blocked out. Super Locky almost getting the first on the board for Ground Zero.
The confidence as well coming in from Ground Zero. Until that double commit, that is terrifying. Kaka, what a recovery to work his way back. And I like seeing Ground Zero, they're not doing the classic winner's tilt thing of thinking, okay, we're 2-0 up, now we change how we play. Now we figure out what exactly we need to do. No. Be aggressive, do what you've been doing. Make sure you shut down KCorp, get these demos, frustrate them, make them absolutely despise you, and make them avoid taking the same elevator as you at the hotel.
These boys are locked right now. I love the way they're challenging for each other. Having that slow rotation around. Great touch, but need to work on it. And Fiber again, they're always having a player under the ball ready to go. There's Kaka again. The air dribbles are working out. They're playing the 50s. They're playing the slow game. I'm going to find out if it's going to work. Super Long's getting bumped. That's just going to walk it in. Exotic with, it wasn't the most impressive of goals, but just brute force. Brute force getting the job done.
Locky being bumped out the way of that as well. Can't quite go for himself, but Exotic knowing You don't always need to be flashy. Make sure that you just get that early goal. But Ground Zero, they came back before. They managed around this point as well. It's when KCorp scored in game number 2. And Ground Zero, they were able to bring it back to the overtime win. So KCorp, what a brilliant turnaround from them so far. They need to have that confidence opening goal. Vatira over the top of the 1, over the top of 2. KCorp, they begin their romp to a Game 3 win.
Super Lucky's just been looking a little bit awkward the past minute here, and again, putting Fiber in an awkward spot. No follow-up from Kaka, third man either. Just starting to lose these little 50-50 battles, and perhaps playing a little bit too passive there. Obviously, we saw the first goal, or 50-50 into a bump. And again, they're losing control of the ball in midfield. Vatira's going to take that every day of the week. Itachi might be able to as well. This is a great response from KCorp when they needed to as well. Could be a third goal, but no follow-up. Fiber now gets a counter-attack. He's taking it high, taking it aerial, tries to get land on it. Super Lucky's underneath, but to no avail here. Ground Zero still need to find 2.
The last time an OC team beat a European team is when we saw Lockie do it with Pioneers versus BDS last spring. It's been about a year so far. Lockie's done it twice. Is he going to be that
double
killer
commit?
man? Double commit, it's a bumper still, but Vatira manages to recover it. But Lockie, mate, if he can manage to do a couple of these wins against huge European titans, he's going to have the same record with you versus Sam.
Yeah, no, he doesn't mind playing European teams, clearly. It's good on him here, but as you said, the job is well and truly not over right now. KCorp have responded, as they have done so many times at land and back in their home region of Europe. Itachi, fantastic touch across, shot on net. Super Lucky tries to get the save, but Exotic puts it away. And 3-0 response here. Backs against the wall from KCorp.
Yep.
This is what a champion team does.
Like an animal cornered, they are starting to thrash. They are starting to make sure that they aren't going to be going down without a fight here. They want to make sure that this is the team that is never going to have that OCE win marked against them. Ground Zero, they have a good few chances here. For KCorp, they're going to make it ever so tough.
Yes, and as soon as KCorp get momentum as well, they can easily run away with these sort of games, these sort of series. As again, they're pushing forward. He does get a great beat out here. He's going to have a flip reset. He's going to get to a work top corner. What a save from Exotic, if you don't mind. He wants that clean sheet here in game number 3 for KCorp.
I mean, even if he gets that clean sheet, Vatira wants to return it down the other end, gets the reset himself, is saved away by Fiber. The chance for Exotic just absolutely bangs it top corner, saved away again by Lockie. Kaka removed from the play, just 2-footed by the KCorp defender. I'm enjoying seeing the chances find their way through. Kaka can't quite receive that pass from Lockie. 45 seconds, any goals need to come in now for Ground Zero, but it will require them scoring as many as they have done in the previous games combined.
Ground Zero as well, just starting to lose a little bit of that midfield game. But KCorp again, these defensive mistakes plaguing them. Vatira with the pre-jump, saving that second flip. Does bail out KCorp. He has done that so far this game pretty well here. One of the best players in the world for a reason. As Fiber now tries to get one back. Perhaps a little momentum going into game number 4. Pass across, Super Lucky 50'd out, but with 15 seconds left, this has been all KCorp. They have changed up their style. They're playing with more confidence, and they're almost getting their 4th on the board.
Tell you what, that is a brilliant turnaround as well from KCorp. That is an outstanding resolution. Their mentality to think, boys, it's fine. You don't win championships if you don't have that kind of mentality. And KCorp, they are showing why they are a stoic force through the European leagues.
They're just starting to win that midfield game as well. It felt like before Ground Zero had all the follow-ups. Even the 50s in midfield were in Ground Zero's favour, but now we're just starting to see that KCorp link-up play. They're trusting each other. They're not just leaving this massive canyon in the midfield for Ground Zero to walk in. And it means at Ground Zero there, they step back a little bit. They were intimidated by that KCorp change-up in style.
Yeah.
And now the ball's in Ground Zero's court. I know they are 2-1 up, but that was the most dominant game we have seen from either side so far this series.
I think Ground Zero, they got absolutely pushed out of that match and they started to respect a little bit more. Yep. We saw that really early chance from Fiber where he went for a shot when Vatira might have missed it off the top ramp above the goal. I like that idea. Maybe they start to not come in quite as frequently. Then maybe they don't take these chances. We don't have any timeouts in these best of 5s either. It comes down to this minute that we are in right now for these players to be able to talk with their coach and figure out the game plan. KCorp, they've clearly recovered. They've clearly made sure that they've got that game plan of playing how they want to. They want to be that aggressive team with the occasional defensive flurry to then get a couple of counters. Ground Zero, they need to get back into their sheer offensive play. Make sure that you are pushing KCorp and the space that they want, they do not have.
Yeah, it felt like, again, here's another open net right off the bat. 19 seconds into game 4, and Super Lucky just getting caught out.
That turn from Exotic is genius. Fakes so from the ball, draws in one player to come in towards him, then quickly spins with a handbrake, bangs it on for the shot. Itachi has to finish it with a flick onwards. Lucky though, he is drawn in from the defensive position because of Exotic's rotation on that side wall.
Yeah, Ground Zero weren't ready for that. Importantly, it was Exotic and Itachi who just, their minds were synced there. They knew what was happening, but Ground Zero had no idea. And we just said a couple of times, we saw at the start of the last game, Super Lucky just getting caught out a little bit last man and perhaps not being respected as much by KCorp as they were in the first couple of games. Having said that, that's a great pass across. Fiber's going to land under it as well. Shot on net for Tira. Does get the touch. Ground Zero still trying to find their first goal. They couldn't get an opening in the last game. They haven't scored since game 2. KCorp again looking strong. The whip's coming through. Itachi wasn't ready for Fiber to not get that one. That could have been a second goal on the board. Still Ground Zero looking awkward. This scramble play isn't working. It's not as effective as it was in the first 2 games. Yeah,
KCorp definitely making sure that they've got a lot more shape to them, and they're not being muddled up by Ground Zero at the moment, who are definitely looking muddled themselves. A couple of triple commits to a couple of these plays as well. 1 minute 15 has elapsed. Tira can't quite spike that one down into the ground and into the net. Kaka now on this right-hand wing. Nobody central, has to take it solo himself. With 150 though, it's a brilliant touch from him. Lockie then always seems to come in a little bit too late. Every single chance, I like his positioning, but he's there about a second later than I'd ideally like him to be, to make these goals come a bit more frequently. That chance of Fiber though, should have really been a shot on net. And just seeing those small 5-10% come out. A long shot from Itachi. And does see Fiber take that back corner boost, and now goes high with it. Vatira to block, that's central. Lockie's there, one touch low, but Vatira from the ceiling shuts down that chance before it really apparates.
I'd love to see Fiber cut rotation there, but he just went back. This is a Ground Zero from San Diego where they're just rotating back, not helping each other out. Not what we saw in the first 2 games. And that's credit to KCorp switching it up. It's forced Ground Zero back into their shells. They're not helping each other out as much. They're not following up. And as we're seeing this midfield game, even when Super Lucky's getting a bump, there's no follow-up. Kaka's not ready.
Yeah, no follow-up. A second bump. I was like, oh, that's it. That's the chance. Lucky, though, removing Vatira. That's going to be vital to this offensive push. Fiber sees one central, but Kaka almost playing for the error that might come in from his teammate, not going central instead. Lucky now with one. Can't get over the top of Exotic on that opportunity. Seems to be a good few chances, but nothing becoming anything threatening. A lot of midfield play happening, and the tyre tracks are wearing down the grass here in the Coliseum.
Yeah, they're losing some of these 50-50 battles here. It's Tira now off the ceiling, trying to go for a counter-attack. Fiber with a great dunk. Exotic has to play time. He does play, gets it off the wall as well. Nice challenge there from Kaka in the centre. Fiber's going to be waiting in the wings for this one. Super Lucky calls him off, goes again, doesn't get the touch that he needs, and that is just going to be open lanes, ladies and gentlemen. Ground Zero falling apart a little bit. I don't like seeing this.
Fiber's rotation too started going back, but then he was lured in by the mid boost like a magpie. Sees it, thinks, okay, I don't go to the corner, maybe we can be offensive here. Itachi, he's like, oh, you left the net completely open, mate. You've already got the challenge on Lockie. Let's just get it on target. Yeah,
well, the problem there as well is that Fiber looked like he was going to angle to grab the boost and go up the wall, but Super Lockie took the ball again, which meant they were both out of position. It was unlike Ground Zero of what we saw in the first 2 games, but this is what KCorp can do to teams. Fiber takes it high, the bumps are coming through. Where's Kaka again? Third man looking very awkward, getting caught out, and KCorp winning this midfield battle.
90 seconds and Ground Zero so far scoreless for a couple of games. Itachi sinks the third. It's a very simple sidewall pass, but it breaks the defense of Ground Zero. Oh, and look at Lockie. Sorry, just real quick. Look at Lockie in the bottom cam. Yeah. He looked annoyed. He's like, guys, what are we doing?
Yeah, but what was he doing there? He went for boost. That felt like first killer back at the last NA regional. This is not what we saw from Ground Zero in the first 2 games. They weren't worried about grabbing 100 boosts. They were just worried about helping each other out and cutting rotation, looking for an angle to get in there and help their teammates out. But right there, Super Lucky just left the ball. His teammates weren't anywhere around him. I know you've got to trust your teammates' rotations, but I just want to see him go the ball. Play it simple. Don't overthink it, which just seems like Ground Zero have been doing that since that game 3 where KCorp just absolutely dismantled them.
KCorp yet again are dismantling them in game number 3. Game number 4 rather. They're playing the patient one. It's 3-0. There's a minute left. It's Ground Zero chasing, needing something. Otherwise, this game 5 looks to be another Carmine Corp romp home. and on the cusp as well of beating the European 3. For the first time since Lockie did it in spring last year to BDS, it becomes a little bit scarier second by second. The Vatira absolutely sending that above the bar. I'm not even going to talk about it because it was that much of a just gigantic whiff. You're not playing rugby here, pal. 30 seconds remain, ground zero. This game 5, CJ. We were both very happy, very smiley after the third. It feels like for any OCE fan, the chance may have already been and gone.
Yeah, it feels like the first 2 games are a distant memory, and this is more from what we were expecting in this series, but it is disappointing to see Ground Zero just go into their shells a bit. It feels like they're overthinking it. They have to hit the reset button here. They've got 1 game to take down EU number 3, but it's not just any EU number 3. It is KCorp full teams, but as this ball hits the ground, KCorp 3-0 and have another one as well.
Yeah.
What a response, facing match point. And they're looking to complete this reverse sweep in fine style.
And big talks need to come in from Ground Zero. How did KCorp do it? In the first couple of games, they were not there, they weren't present, they were pushed, they were shoved all the way into a locker, and then Ground Zero ran away with a couple, and they did a brilliant job to do so as well in a very, very well-fought overtime in game number 2. They then spoke before game number 3, and they've turned it around. They made sure that they are now not succumbing to the pressure. They're being a lot more offensive. They're also letting Ground Zero make errors. They're making sure that, okay, they're not quite as mechanically gifted or quite as mechanically perfect as we are at times, so let's make sure that we are taking advantage of those situations. Ground Zero's talk here needs to be that of, how do we go back to the magic that we captured in a bottle in the first couple?
Yeah, if I'm the Ground Zero coach right now, I'd be shaking them and just saying, boys, wake up, just lock in for 1 game, because as it felt like the comms had fallen apart a little bit. We saw that final goal where Super Lockie just went for boost with, no teammate there in net to back him up. It makes them look silly on the pitch, and when you're not talking, it's very clear, it's very obvious from a viewing perspective watching the games right now. But here we go, it's Champ Field of all fields. This major's got something special about it, and what better way to start than the first series going all the way to 5 and KCorp on the ropes a little bit early.
Ground Zero, we're really hoping that talk is going to have some impact. But KCorp fans, you're going to be up. It's the evening in Europe right now, and they are feeling alive. The French drums bang in their ears. Ground Zero, they want to be trying to shut them down as much as possible, have them muffled instead. 30 seconds elapsed, and already it's that KCorp big pressure. Great block from Lockie. Defensively in the first 2, he was a monster.
I've seen the challenge as well. Sometimes you need a bit of luck getting out of defense, but Tachi's walking it right at Ground Zero. They're in shambles right now. There's no challenger. Tachi is making them look silly. Gets the 50-50. Super Lockie keeps it out. Kaka just clears it and said, boys, what are we doing? And Tachi almost just walking around the defense whilst not doing anything. Exotic again. Shot on net. Goes wide. Follow-up. Does it all himself. KCorp. I said it last game, Stumpy. They're just dismantling Ground Zero right now.
Solo play at the purest. Fiber with 0 boost on the back wall. He can't challenge. His player on the floor, I think it was Kaka, I don't think he knew that. He was also low on boost. They were just starved, and Exotic saw the wounded animal and he struck.
If you've ever seen 3 players inside the heads of another team like this, well, I don't know what it is, because right now Ground Zero overthinking every situation, not playing how they did in the first 2, but that's full credit to KCorp, the way they've turned this around. Having said that, there's only 1 goal. Ground Zero, they can find an equaliser. They can make KCorp think about it. You have to think the pressure has to be on this European team, previous defending major champions, but they don't look it. They don't look like they're feeling any kind of pressure. They are playing with so much confidence.
Remarkable how they've turned it around, but Ground Zero, they've had a little bit of a roundabout themselves. Another double commit in the midfield with 90 seconds elapsed. Needs to be recovering as soon as possible. Exotic flies past that ball. Great block again from Lockie. Sends it cornerward. Tira central. Itachi and then getting him from it. Kaka has to stop. He has a pit stop for boost. And in that time, Exotic, he's already there.
Yeah, he couldn't quite make that one work. But as we said, it's been the story of Ground Zero the past few games. They're just not quite as locked in. It feels like they're overthinking every situation. Super Lockie passes it back. That's what we'd like to see. Kaka trying to get busy, trying to get to work offload. That would have been nice, but again, it's found Itachi. KCorp linking up, flick on net. Fiber with the pre-jump. Now Vatira trying to get a bump, trying to get a follow-up. It's a great touch from Kaka, but KCorp seemingly having all the answers, and they're just following up so well. KCorp
are there for every single challenge and every single attack, exactly as we saw Ground Zero were earlier. And And on that, again, KCorp stays grounded. He's low on boost. It's so frequent that these players on Ground Zero are low on boost and are getting frustrated seeing the opportunities that they could have if they weren't struggling so much in seemingly every single aspect. Scoreless so far for a long time. A double block out from Ground Zero yet again. Exotic, one shot on target. KCorp to block and shut down those dreams. A 1-goal lead is still a scary spot for KCorp to be in because it is not guaranteed whatsoever. Lucky though, completely leaving that ball and his team's in complete turmoil. Exotic to shoot, top corner. Hand on heads here from casters. And it's just leave the ball and you concede a goal.
Ground Zero playing so slow, but KCorp are dominating this offense. They are everywhere right now. And this is what we're expecting. This is what we were expecting coming into this series. And ever since Game 3, forget about the first two, this has been a KCorp domination. 2 minutes left for Ground Zero to show something, show some form from those previous games. But Vatira is almost getting a sidewall double to just put all of the potential comeback thoughts in the bin.
Scoreless for 13 minutes at Ground Zero after winning those first two. A bump in the midfield. KCorp up for one, goes to that bump, isn't quite able to secure it, and as we can see on the main stream, Rule 1, they go through the upper bracket round 1, 3-1 versus Crew. The MENA run begins here.
It's good to see over on the A stream there, and what a start for that team, but what a start it could be for Ground Zero with a minute 15 seconds left. Can they find a goal? Can they find a way back? And Itachi just ended all right here. A great 50 coming out. Ground Zero getting a form of attack. KCorp pushing forward, goes to the pitch. It's a great pass. Vatira's going to miss, but he gets a block. Even when he looks so awkward, he just gets a touch on the ball.
But I love that from Ground Zero. Lockie was there. He was in position. He just wasn't quite able to secure it.
50.
And the mind game from Itachi on the other side to crush any dreams that Ground Zero had. He gets rid of KCorp. He fakes the one, goes to that sideball touch. Lockie thinks they're going to ping it in that near post. Instead, he stays low, lets Lockie bounce it off him. 3-0. KCorp on their run for 3 games in a row, reverse sweeping the OCE first seed.
I mean, it feels like they're making a statement ever since that game. Oh no, it's an own goal from Vatira.
You take it.
Hang on a minute. It's not over yet. 49 seconds on the clock. It's taken an own goal for Ground Zero to get their first goal since game number 2.
Yep.
I was going to say it's looking like a 3-0 again, which may be KCorp making a statement because the last 2 games have been 3-0. Probably telling us what the series score should have been, but off the kickoff is what you just don't want to see. For Ground Zero, KCorp get their 4th goal. They extend it back to that 3-0 lead.
Fiber, bless you. Fiber, Mike, bless him.
I respect going for that sort of a play.
Such a close cheat.
It feels like KCorp were all over that. They knew that they needed a goal, Ground Zero.
Yeah.
And they capitalised. This is going to be all over. It's been you'd have to be disappointed for Ground Zero. But for KCorp, again, they're showing that mental toughness. And you know, I know this is OCE. This isn't perhaps the best team in the world they're playing, but just the way that they've come back into this game and changed it up has been phenomenal. Another goal on net, Super Lucky flailing.
Yeah.
A 5th for KCorp.
The mentality, mate, from KCorp has been unbelievable. Because, right, without sounding a little bit too harsh towards OCE, as the European 3rd seed, you're looking at OCE and you're thinking, well, we just don't lose that.
Yeah.
Like, you are just thinking, we don't lose that. If we lose it, it's the biggest upset that we're seeing, apart from Elevator Vitality or something like that. But realistically, you're thinking, no, this is ours to win. And the mentality to make sure that you don't just go down in those 3, you win another game, maybe then you lose the series. Instead, KCorp, they fought back, they get dominant wins. Congratulations, KCorp. You do not throw it away early. Yeah. Exotic going for a very zen-based goal there from what we saw previously in one of the European regionals. I'm so impressed with what we saw from the boys in blue. And the blue wall, the bricks all remain in place. Ground Zero, lads, back to the drawing board, and all you need to look at is those first 2 games.
We thought for a second there this might be the most ridiculous major ever, but order has been restored at the top. KCorp get the job done, and you know, forgetting about the first 2 games, that was utter domination, destruction. It shows the competitiveness of KCorp, as we said. You could have gone 2-0 down and thought, we're losing 2-0 to OCE, let's blow this roster up, forget about it, we'll see you at the World Championships. But no, they fought back into it with...
I mean, they went down those first 2 games, what was it, a 1-0, then a 2-1 overtime, and then they went 11-1 in goals. Just
And the one goal was an own goal as well.
And
so
the
they
one goal was an
basically
own
scored 12 to nothing. They absolutely destroyed this team. Ground Zero, they'll have to be disappointed with that. I know they can say they took them to 5, but just the way that they fell apart.
Yeah.
They had no response in that game 3, and then for the rest of the series, it just looked awful. It looked like a winter major San Diego Ground Zero, which is not what we want to see. We don't want to see them going back into their shells, but well done to KCorp, and as we said on the A stream as well, well done to Rule 1.
Yes.
Getting their first win. This is their first RLCS land finally. I don't want to say finally Falcons aren't here, but for them, that's probably what they're saying to themselves.
Yeah.
But
it's their chance to prove themselves as well. And of course, there are more games going on. That was the first one. That's the first series that we're having today. I'll also get them a little tippy.
No, don't do that.
We have got, after the break, a team that are very, very happy that Ground Zero were not able to take it over KCorp. After the break, Space Station Gaming versus Power.
With us.
Hey.